First and foremost, let me be the one to break the bad news. There are no ogres in Ogre Battle. If this fills your heart with bitter disappointment, go watch Shrek or something.
Layers! Onions have layers. Ogres have layers.
Ogre Battle March of the Black Queen is a strategy RPG directed by Yasumi Matsuno. You know, the guy who directed other powerhouse titles such as FF Tactics, FF12 and Vagrant Story. This title is perfectly suitable to SRPG enthusiasts who don't like being spoon-fed required information. There's a lot of micromanaging, there are lengthy battles, and there is a lot you're going to have to work out on your own. So is Ogre Battle March of the Black Queen worth playing? Watch and find out. Tell me if you've heard this one before. You are the newly appointed leader of the Liberation Army, and it's your job to lead the rebellion against the evil empire. The main character's class is dictated by a series of questions you answer at the start of the game, and I thought this was a great way to build your hero as opposed to simply selecting a class from various menus, which is seen in just about every other single game in existence. The plot of March of the Black Queen is delivered in an interesting way, not through scenes but through the townspeople after liberating their town. When you send a unit in to enter a town, the people speak to you about their thoughts and feelings about the war. The whole world history and politics seem to be quite rich, but I wasn't able to keep up with the finer points of the story, and as a result, didn't care much for the narrative. I think the intention here is that you'll play the game multiple times, as there are loads of different endings that are influenced by a shitload of different factors. These include things like your reputation level, what non-playable characters you've recruited, and what special items you've acquired along the way. Personally, one playthrough was enough for me. The strategic gameplay is the real reason that you'll want to play Ogre Battle. There are 25 main missions to work through, with a few additional secret levels that can be unlocked. For each map, the idea is to move out your units to the enemy's stronghold and then defeat the boss. Some maps are huge and will take a long time to complete. I'm talking 90 minutes to 2 hours. Yes, the struggle is real. There is no save option during these lengthy wars, so be prepared to spend a long time in front of the screen. Unless, of course, you're playing it on an alternative device that allows you to save state, which for this game I recommend. Along the way, you'll be able to liberate locations on the map, which will adjust your reputation and provide you with cash. Considerations need to be made, such as if you leave a captured location open, the enemy may attempt to reclaim it, which will then lower your reputation. Furthermore, if they reach your main base, it's game over. So for each map, the idea is you'll send your troops out, slowly take over the map, defend your bases, defeat the enemy troops, and then ultimately the boss. However, this can be quite difficult. Fortunately, a much easier strategy is available to you. You can just camp outside your base for an hour, defeat all enemies that come to you, then when they're dead, liberate all of the cities and take on the boss. I felt this took a lot of fun out of the game. I would have much preferred more incentive to go out and actively work my way around the map, but this is just how the mechanics make things work. When one of your units is in close proximity to an enemy unit, a battle will commence. This turn-based system is automatic, and most of the time you can just kick your feet up and watch it unfold. You are, however, given a few options. For starters, you can set the tactics that your unit will follow. This may be take out the enemy leader or target the weaker enemies. Towards the end of the game, this is crucial in taking out key targets and manipulating the stats of your characters. You can also bring powerful terror cards into play, which are consumable items gained through liberating towns. These vary in functionality and are a great way to change the tides of battle. You may think that the simplicity of the battle system is a problem, but in my opinion it works extremely well, as it requires even more strategy in creating different unit groups and setting specific unit formations. There are many different classes available for you to make up your army. Each unit group can be made up of 5 characters, with larger character types taking up 2 spots. How each unit will attack in battle will depend on whether they're in the front row or the back row. Mixing and matching is a lot of fun, and creating the most powerhouse units is a really good feeling. But there's a problem. As I mentioned before, Ogre Battle doesn't tell you anything. You're going to want to upgrade your basic classes into more advanced classes, but the game doesn't tell you what you need to do this. Manipulating a character's stats is hard enough, but meeting specific requirements will be impossible without a guide, unless of course you fluke it. There is a lot of micromanagement involved in Ogre Battle, and this is a really good thing. Unfortunately, the menu system doesn't make doing this an easy task. Adding and removing characters from units take far too many button presses and ultimately takes far longer than it really should. The biggest problem, however, is the items that you can equip to your characters. In the equip menu, you can see the stats of each piece of equipment, but there's no way to compare that to the item currently equipped. This means that you have to manually unequip an item, go back into another menu, see the item's stats, remember it, choose another item, then compare that to the previous stat. Imagine doing this with potentially hundreds of characters. It is a nightmare and way too time consuming. Imagine being thrown on a rocket ship alone and being told, okay son, navigate your way to Pluto. What would you do? I would have no idea where to start. That's kinda how I felt when playing Ogre Battle. I found myself relying on gameplay guides way more often than I should have. But I really can't help but praise Ogre Battle for attempting to do so much, even if there were loads of mechanics that frustrated the hell out of me. Let's start with one single stat, the manipulation of alignment, which is required to upgrade characters to better classes and also to gain reputation.
If a character kills an enemy that is a higher level than him, his alignment will drop. If a character kills an enemy that is a lower level than him, his alignment will rise. But if a character kills an enemy that is a higher alignment than him, his alignment will drop. Finally, if a character kills an enemy that's a lower alignment than him, his alignment will rise. This means that if you want to increase a character's alignment, you need to keep killing enemies that are stronger than you and at a lower alignment to you. But if you're too weak, you won't be killing anyone because you suck.
Get it? Don't worry, it took me half the game to understand what the hell to do here. Oh, and the game doesn't really tell you any of this either, so if you're not prepared to jump on a walkthrough, then you're screwed. And I swear to God, at times trying to manipulate these stats was one of the most frustrating things I've experienced in a game in a long time, as at times it seemed impossible. Good job, Ogre Battle. Good job for being a Super NES game trying to do something so complex and ambitious. What Ogre Battle lacks in Ogres, it certainly makes up for in delivering a complex strategy RPG that'll really make you think. For me, the best part was managing my characters and carefully hand selecting them to create many ass-kicking units, even though these menus were poorly designed. And I understand that games tend to spoon feed you these days, but March of the Black Queen is the polar opposite, requiring you to go out of your way to actually learn how to play the game. I was also in two minds with the game mechanics. At times I felt they worked really well, but at other times they were both frustrating and greatly limited how to go about completing each map objective. This game is definitely suited to fans of the strategy RPG genre, but for your casual gamers out there, you may want to look elsewhere. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. If you liked this, hit like, subscribe and check out my Facebook page. See you next time.